who knows how to counter banelings. But we'll see what ends up being the case here. We'll talk about a little bit about some Starbow related things in a second. Let's get the intros out of the way first, though. Spawning in the lower left corner of the map, it's going to be the Red Zerg player, TEHREDBANDIT. That's an awkward mineral field. I feel like there's supposed to be more there. Like a wall off or something. In the top right, his opponent, though, the blue Terran player currently leading the series 1-0 at the moment, NasD. So part of what I want to talk about, guys, on behalf of Starbow, again, I don't work for them or directly like with them. I just enjoy casting their games and getting some enjoyment out of the mod itself. I do want to speak about a couple things they've asked me to speak about. First and foremost, StarbowMod.com. Go to the website to check out the Starbow ladder. There is no in-game ladder, despite the fact that the game is free to play. And for those who don't know what I mean by that, you can download the StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm arcade for free. You don't even need to buy Heart of the Swarm or Wings of Liberty, and through that you can play Starbow. But despite the fact that it's free, there's no in-game ladder system for it, unfortunately. So Blizzard doesn't have anything implemented, and these guys have made their own ladder system. That's where a lot of people from today's tournament have come from. These are not people who could sign up for free. You had to have a certain amount of ladder points in order to play in the Starbow Ladder Cup #1. Now, on top of this, too, StarbowMod.com. Did I say it enough times yet? StarbowMod.com. It's where you can go to check out more information about the mod itself, to check for patch updates, etc. But also, and more importantly, guys, they've left a message saying they're looking for some web developers. So, looking to expand their website, make it a bit more immersive, perhaps improve the ladder system. I don't know what the goals are, but they've asked that if you just simply reply in their Starbow Team Liquid thread, they're looking for web developers. Even if you're an amateur, give it a shot. Maybe you've got the stuff, the Maxi Kid, to be able to help out them grow this mod. I mean, Starbow is not the most popular thing in the world, and there was a huge hype train for it that has certainly died down, but there's still some interest in the mod. I personally enjoy it, and I'm looking very forward to seeing more and more of it get played out as we get further into 2014. But for now, Red Bandit coming across the map with some early lings. That is a, I wouldn't say a super fast or super quick metabolic boost. It's kind of like an appropriate metabolic boost. It will actually help out a lot, though, because there's going to be a Reaper coming in. Let's be honest, guys, slowlings cannot deal with Reapers, just period. They'll get kited around all day. But with Metabolic Boost, and now, I don't even know if you can jump up on these cliffs, to be honest. Again, Starbow's had some really weird texturized, like, for example, like, one grid space here, a Reaper can't jump type thing. But anyways, Link's gonna slip past everything here, cancels the command center immediately. NasD in a bit of panic, realizing, shoot, I might not be able to deal with this. Puts down an overcharge on top of the barracks to chrono out, essentially another Reaper. But Metabolic Boost is done, guys. SCVs are pulled off the line to hold against this. But as long as he runs around, it doesn't matter how many Reapers come out. As long as they can connect, the Reapers will go down. And Reapers in Starbow, just like regular StarCraft, are a unit that require, I guess, a snowball effect. You have to be able to really get 3 or 4 out for them to be a deadly force. But one will pick off another set of lings. They're going to try and connect. SCV's pulled once again onto this. Red Bandit dedicating quite a bit to try and kill this last Reaper. Unfortunately, actually brings a couple more lings across the map, so now he should be able to finish it. Another Reaper goes down. 1 left remaining. 2 more lings coming through this too. Wall-Off is trying to go down. Finally completes it. Unless that's got to. There's no way. That's okay. That's a raised pallet. Didn't look like it. But kills the depot. Kills the SCV. Marine comes on out of this. Red Bandit is causing a lot of damage with a very low amount of lings. 6 more are coming across the map behind us, but at this point, I kind of hope he realizes, like, this is not the snowball that he's been looking for. Like, this will hurt, this will be annoying, but, I mean, just pure lings at this point, I don't know if they can exactly win him the game. What he should do is capitalize on killing some free, this one free supply depot here towards the south, I guess. I mean, he keeps going for this one because it's in the middle. It's in the process of being built. He's trying to make sure it doesn't go down so the wall-off's never complete, but he doesn't have a flood of units behind this, so I'd say take this depot, get it for free. You've killed enough. I mean, these aren't even cancels going up by NasD. These were just straight-up kills, so here we go. Another depot gonna fall. Sorry, I don't know why I looked at the player vision there, but yeah, Red Bandit gets another depot and is off to a great start this game compared to game #1. And the key thing about this too is it doesn't give NasD the ability to relax and build a natural base and push out with this like overwhelming marine force that all have stim pack and other such things available. But instead it's kind of stuck in this very more, I guess, defensive position. So I think right now NasD and Red Bandit's a bit of a wash as far as the evenness of the game goes. Again, that's weird. That didn't, unless you zoomed in, that doesn't really look. It kind of looks like just a terrain doodad, but that's a raised platform, which is why that's not a something you can walk over. Anyway, Stimpack is on the way and looks like he will continue with some fire bets, but these are all things you want to invest in early anyways. If you're not going to go for mech, if you're not going to have vultures or spider mines to defend you, you really have to have that sort of extra unit available. So fire bats will be really nice for splash damage, plus they can soak some hits. They're tanky little mothers. But a lair is on the way, a macro hatchery has been made, and there's no third base taken. I really do feel like Red Bandit could very comfortably take this base up here, or even the one towards the south. I mean, right now, it's not like NasD's pushing out anytime soon, but he's still not even secured his own natural, and he knows this because he's been the one denying it. So, well, another link comes up here to try and scout. Unfortunately, could not confirm whether there was or was not a base, but the Overlord would see SCVs mining if there were. Well, he's going to wrap around towards the south, try and perhaps get your third base if it was taken greedily. I like these. I like the map layout, by the way. Like, the thing about Starbow that's really cool is, like, there's no force fields, so the maps get designed differently. And this just seems like a small thing to talk about, but it's really critical here for TVZ because it does impact this. Where, like, in regular StarCraft, guys, you wouldn't have as many ramps like this where there's one choke because one sentry would ruin the game. You wouldn't be able to put wide ramps like this because it'd be totally unfair to players who had to rely on force fields. So, with Protoss having been reworked, it allows for different map design to keep it balanced without breaking the game, and I think that's really cool. A couple Lings and Marines going to be picked right here. And Firebat will clean this up. And more Firebats from behind will clean up the rest. And unfortunately, Red Bandit's sent pack in once again. But he's got Banelings on the way. Barrel Stabilizers being researched. We got that push coming out of NasD, but this time, Red Bandit's got 4 Spine Crawlers, and he's going to have Banelings at a more appropriate timing. Hell, we've got the Spire on the way, so Mutalisk may even come into play. Something that we haven't seen Red Bandit utilize yet, but could still be very darn effective in this matchup. I wonder if we put a Spine Crawler here, would it be able to reach that ramp? I guess he could just go right through the north anyway, it's not a big deal. Drone looks like it was going to try and take a ninja base, but Reaper missed it with that scout, so safe for now. I like that scan, by the way. Big scan out of NasD. Sorry, I caught the talent. I tried to show the vision, but I missed it. He reveals the 4 Spine Crawlers. He sees the Banelings. He knows the better angle to attack is not up this ramp, but from the north. Now, this is a force that can deal with this. Don't get me wrong, guys. 4 Spine Crawlers, again, they'll help a little bit. Ooh, scan misses the Spire, though. If Red Bandit can live long enough to get some Mutalisks in play, he'll be in a much better spot to deal with this. I mean, Mutalisks are still not the greatest things against Marines. It's not too different from regular StarCraft 2 in that regard. However, he's going to have, well, honestly, not a lot of Marines to deal with. There's going to be so many Hellbats and Medics invested in this army supply, it's not going to be like 50 Marines, but more like 30. So if you can take enough of those out with the Banelings, then the Mutalisks swoop in and clean up the rest, because nothing else can shoot up. Not unless the Hellbats start doing stacking pyramids like gymnasts or something, but yeah, coming up this ramp, he'll take a hit or two from the Spine Crawler, nothing too crazy, but more Banelings being morphed in, and this is going to be hard to deal with. We saw last game the same situation where NasD was able to just sort of dance back and forth a little bit. That Spine Crawler's not in range of the ramp? Seriously? I thought it was. Okay, I'm crazy. But some triple hooks are done, and this is where the key difference comes into this game compared to last, where there was no Baneling speed, so connecting to the Terran units that were stimming was simply impossible. This time, right around the Spine Crawlers where there's some dipping in and out, he'll be able to do precisely that. Huge link force coming across the map like this is incredibly risky because A, he doesn't know what's waiting for him, but B, he may need it at home to defend. But if he gets across the map, if he gets to the supply depot wall, then all of a sudden NasD may have to pull his forces back, and I think that's kind of what he's doing right now. Unsure of what's going on, why there wasn't a bigger army at home defending. But depots don't go down quickly to Lings, and Marines will hold the line for the time being. Mutalisks are being made behind this, so we got about 8 coming out in total. A new, different thing that we're seeing. But the layer is trying to turn into a hive while this is going on. There is the option for Guardians and Devourers, but I have to date still not seen a single one being made in the entirety of Starbow casting I've done. A large part of this is because they're kind of bad units. Mutalisks, when flocked and well controlled can be a lot more effective. Guardians do have that incredibly large range. They're kind of like the Tempest in that regard. Not as insane as the Tempest, of course, but my favorite thing about Guardians is the noise they make. But save that for another day. I only do impressions when Zombie comes around. Anyways, that's a lot of Mutalisks, and that's only one turret to defend for now. Ducks in and out. This turret will go down. There's no SCVs pulled to repair it. And unfortunately, there's another turret here to worry about. But it snipes off a couple of SCVs. Gotta get out of here with these Mutalisks alive, though. They do have that sort of tissue regeneration. It's not as insane as it is in Whoa, did he forget he had a drone up here? I want to know the story of what just happened up here, because why did he bring another drone to build a hatchery if he had one waiting? And why did the Reaper not finish off the drone if he went for the hatchery? Awkward is as awkward does. Anyways, he knows about that base, so that becomes a bit of a problem here for Red Bandit, a bit of a liability, if you will. But the nice thing, too, is like if your opponent's busy sending their entire force to the top left to attack your base, then you go straight for the heart of the natural. You bring your Mutalisk back. You go for more harass, but wrapping around the side, Mutalisks are not exactly numerous enough to do a ton of damage. Like, this is the perfect amount of Mutalisks to really, you know, pick off dropships, catch your opponent, harass a little bit, right? But it's not enough to dive through mineral lines. It's certainly not enough to take this army on. And whether he knows about these tanks or not, tanks are going to come into a big effect too. Banelings and Zerglings are cool, but a tank with huge splash damage and a lot of damage to boot is going to one-shot just about any of these. But this force heading towards the top left, northwest part of the map, I couldn't have said that any messier, should be in a pretty good position to take a fight here. I would love if the siege tank sieged up here to cover the high ground, but that's not going to be the case by the looks of it. Cancels the hatchery. Oh, Banelings pull back! Banelings pull back! Red Bandit, pull your Banelings back! Oh no! Oh no! What is he doing? He sacrifices all of them. They were on move command. Oh, that is really unfortunate. I mean, those Banelings weren't like the end of the world, and they weren't what his army relied upon. That was a huge investment, though, to give away for free like that. Meanwhile, where are the Mutalisks while this is going on? Did he lose them? No, they're still in the middle of the map. Okay. Science Vessel not going to irradiate just yet. Does have the energy for it. There we go, now on top of the Mutalisk. Got to figure out which one is the damaged one, so to speak. But looks like they're both going to pop off here in just a second's time. Red Bandit takes a very terrible engagement here in the middle of the map. Really unfortunate for him, but all of this has bought him a little bit of time. We got some Ultralisks on the way. We got Dark Swarm possibly as the Consume finishes up here for the Defilers. And this is a situation we've seen him play very comfortably in before. If you guys recall his earlier series, just chasing down units like crazy. This is a bit of a curious upgrade to see this late in the game. For those who don't know what this does, it makes it so Scanner Sweep no longer costs energy, but has 2 charges and a cooldown instead. The reason you see a lot of Terran players skip this go is because you don't really need the energy for anything else. Anyways, that thought on hold for a moment. We got Ultras on the way, but they're not here yet, so the Spine Crawlers are going to be the only thing to buy him a little bit of time. The defense here is not very much, and this Ultralisk is only 1. Moves into the Marines. That Irradiate's going to help, will actually help Red Bandit a little bit more than help NasD, but this could be it, guys. This is such a powerful force, and the Banelings are not going to be numerous enough to deal with this. Where are those Ultras? There's a one coming up the ramp, but Red Bandit again with his control. Gotta be careful. If he brings this from behind, that's going to be fantastic, but speed is on the way, and not done yet. Just got to hold out a little bit longer, but he's lost the base, and a very critical one at that. Where are those Ultras? Oh, he sent it across the map for some reason. No kindness plating either. That's only just been started, but Dark Swarm's going to go down to try and protect the Banelings. Allow the Zerglings to get a good connect. But as we see, the Marines just move on out of this, and an Ultras coming from the back is only going to be 1. Dark Swarm again going to come into great effect, but as we see, the Terran player just kites on out of it. Siege Tank falls, and these Lings and this Ultras may just clean this up, albeit just barely. There's a very small handful of Marines that do go down to these Lings, and now it's just medics and a Science Vessel. Not the scariest thing in the world. But this base is undefended, and it took everything Red Bandit had to hold that main base. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold this base here towards the lower right, and this is going to be kind of key. In fact, he recognizes this. He pulls the drones out of this. Can they get away in time? Nope, Marine's going to stay on top of this and pick off a large portion of these drones. It's not about losing the base. It's about losing the workers that sucks the most. Total of, well, actually only 8 workers have died so far this game. Really low workers kills, but great economic damage being dealt here by NasD as he takes down this base. Hatchery is going to go down, and well, Lings and Ultras are going to come from behind, but there's no Dark Swarm this time to back them up. This would be a great place if he can hold NasD in here, force a fight. It's a choke for a Dark Swarm. It's perfect, but Dark Swarm is so far away. Can he land it? He's got 2 of them. He's got another one. He's got to throw down the other one. Good Dark Swarms. Tanks do very little damage. Tanks do have a moving shot, as we saw in effect outside of the Dark Swarm there, but even then, I don't know if there's enough left. Oh, 1 more Dark Swarm will be enough as he consumes a Ling there to get the energy for it. Great control. Good thought process there from Red Bandit. But in full retreat is NasD. Red Bandit, though, like I said, guys, it took everything he had to hold these attacks. And NasD, well, he comfortably expands behind this. The Mutalisks have been mostly picked off. They got a couple kills each, but really not a lot. There's a lot of hatcheries being placed down right now, but realistically, there's no way to defend any of them is the problem. I can't remember the last time I saw 1/1 Lings be so effective, but Adrenal Glands is coming into great effect so far this game. Tanks are going to get a couple shots off here, drive this army back, but the Science Vessels are what's really scary. We finally see some investment in Scourges, but at this point, like, you need 2 per Science Vessel, and he doesn't have the gas to really make 8 Scourges, much less 10, much less enough to go over top of those Marines without losing all of them. So it's going to be a very difficult engagement, to say the least. That being said, these Lings, again, they've been showing great effectiveness this game. In fact, this attack over here towards the 3rd base, going to work out really nicely. There's only Marauders being picked up by the Mutalisks, actually. This command center may fall. But Red Bandit's barely on 2 bases, folks. Again, while this looks really good, in the bigger picture, it's not exactly the most impressive fight. Still scrapping left and right, though, taking what fights he can. Level 2 weapons up on the way here for NasD, but actually with the Marauders going down, there's not a lot of Marines left, but he can't get through that wall is the problem. Neither can the SCVs, however. So may just lose a couple more. Mutalisks are irradiated, not that that's going to matter. These were kind of dead units anyway, so I don't feel he needed to use that, but cleans this up one way or another. Now at this point, a big question is kind of like, what can Red Bandit do? And I gotta say, like, without lurkers, I don't know. Like, the key thing is, okay, so the reason you see a lot of Zerg players not invest in lurkers and Starbow guys is because they're stationary units, so it's not hard for a Terran player to stim away from that. But we've had no sort of sneak attack set up. We've had no lurkers waiting on passive in order to catch a ton of Marines type thing. No broad Banelings even. Just Dark Swarm and Brute Force, and Red Bandit's shown that, like, he can take good fights when given the control, but what he really needs is, like, some finesse added into this, because just raw strength is not going to cut it. Ultra's going to be irradiated. That's really unfortunate. Ooh, the Defilers irradiated are even more unfortunate. Now I'm not going to get any more Dark Swarms off as these units die. Really unfortunate here is they all just whoosh into obliteration. But small attack here to the top left, trying to reclaim the lower central portion of the map, and a counterattack of Lings going off. Red Bandit surprisingly still in this game, like, I shouldn't say that surprisingly, but like surprisingly so well still in this game, if that makes more sense. Like, this is a situation where I think a lot of other players would have starved out at this point, but he's been able to obtain bases behind this and apply just enough counter pressure to make sure that NasD can't spiral out of control. Like, without that 3rd base of his own, this is why he's applying pressure and getting dominating stances, but can't end the game. He literally can't end the game, despite the fact that he's got such a large army supply, simply because he doesn't have the economy to really produce that. But, oh god, these depots being down, that's going to hurt. Marauders are surrounded entirely. Ultras coming up behind us. Marines are getting cut off at the source, and Starbow, not unlike regular StarCraft, a Terran player's greatest weak point is his production. And he gets in here on top of the SCVs. There's nothing NasD can do. He has to give up these SCVs. This base will be forced to lift. Supply depots will keep these units trapped within the base, but the damage has certainly been done. This is what Red Bandit really needs to do to get back in this game in a big way. He's still on 2 bases himself, but he's just knocked his opponent down to 1, essentially. Yes, there's a command center, but there's no mining going to go on. And the main base is probably going to mine out here in not too much time. In fact, is mined out. So NasD actually quite hungry right now and a little bit thirsty to boot. His gas count is all right, but I mean, this is rough is what this is. If Red Bandit from this point on can just keep NasD from taking a 3rd and can somehow expand beyond that, he's in such a good spot this game. Yeah, Irradiate is 180 damage, as I see chat asking about it. I think Ultralisks are the only units that can eat an Irradiate. I could be mistaken on that, but I'm pretty sure they're the only units that have enough health for that. Yeah, Storm Host, Storm Queen, sorry, Defilers, yeah, they're all way too weak. Anyways, this fight is going to be key. This base is really important for Red Bandit. This is his advantage in this game. At this, he's got some Dark Swarms, but he goes in perhaps a little bit too early. He puts the Dark Swarms down to cover, but Irradiate goes down on top of the Defilers. These units are absolutely going to die, so he has to use up all that energy ASAP. But he drives the army back for now. However, loses all of his Lings and most of his Ultras. And more importantly than that, without those Dark Swarms, he can't really comfortably engage this again. That being said, Science Vessels are pretty much dry at this point. Any further Dark Swarms, or sorry, Defilers will be fine. God, these units are so gross looking. Ugly ass poop lobsters. And as he pulls the drones out of this, I actually really like that move. Don't like that he's taking this fight. Again, I got a lot of praise and respect for the way Red Bandit plays this game, but it does feel like a lot of the time he's just not paying attention to every unit he has on the field. But instead, like oftentimes, like move commanding the Banelings up here, leaving Ultralisks to take free fights and free damage in the middle of the map. Like, these are rough choices that he's been making. We got Scourges being invested in once again, but honestly, I'd like to see a Plague come into effect. Another big Ling run by into the natural base. Oh god, if he gets these SCVs, I want to remind you guys, NasD, this is his economy. This is everything to him right now. I mean, the depots can go down, whatever, but oh god, he just, big mistake made. He just made 7 Marines. He doesn't have enough for another SCV. He only has 1 SCV to mine with, guys. NasD, in a fit of panic, has no income and no bank to deal with this. Red Bandit, in a game that looked like he was going to lose this outright, may have just won the game with that Ling run by. I mean, he will eventually mine enough minerals for another SCV, I suppose, but it's 1 SCV. If this 1 SCV at the natural base dies, that is game, 100%, but good game's going to be called. Engagement over here on this side of the map can absolutely shred everything to bits, and Red Bandit ties it up now 1-1. Congrats to him. That was actually really well played. Fantastic game out of him. But that'll send us to game number 3. We'll see who can finish this series. We're going to run some ads. We'll IQ up some epic music to close out the series with. So we'll be back in a second, guys. Don't go anywhere.